Welcome to this presentation about a topic we hold very much to our hearts: diversity. Together with my colleagues Alex, Bodo and Philip, we have presented on November 30th at the Supply Chain and Logistics Conference in Berlin, because we truly see diversity as a key to shaping the supply chain culture of the future. Diversity concerns all of us and not just with an eye on supply chains. Today we'd like to focus on 4 tenets. First, since the age of times, supply chains are key drivers for diversity and innovation. Second, in its own diversity is underappreciated. Third, in times of transformation, problem-solving diversity is key to success. And lastly, a recommendation: don't just hire a chief diversity officer yet. We'll conclude by showing that, in the end, diversity always wins. You may have followed the U17 Football World Championship. On November 21st, after a successful game, these players shared a victor's picture on Facebook, directly from the pitch. They earned hate comments for their looks. We have checked. They are all German nationals. Thankfully, the German Football Association responded swiftly. If you don't share our values around diversity, then feel free to unfollow us. So since the age of times, supply chains are connecting A to B. They make sure that people from around the world can trade with each other. In the melting pots, they have created diversity and innovation. Look at this place. Containers are coming from all over the world, and they leave for all over the world as well. Likely, there are people from many nationalities working together here. The same is almost certainly true for your own warehouse. These people deal with diversity every single day. If you had a supply chain organization with multiple warehouses and a workforce coming from many walks of life, this comes together with responsibility. Do you equip your people with the competencies for leading diversity? We see 3 key areas of competencies: personal, interpersonal, and problem solving. Are you developing these competencies among your people? Do you make sure they can consciously apply them? They will much better be able to go after their daily jobs if they can. Maybe here's your first takeaway. Next week, why don't you sit down with your HR representative? It may be a low-hanging fruit to roll out such a program for anyone in your supply chain organization with responsibility over a diverse team. Let's come to our second tenet. In its own diversity is underappreciated. Because let's have a look at what diversity entails. Diversity in age, gender, ethnicity, and many, many more aspects. So let's be honest. As an organization, you will never be able to be truly diverse in all these many dimensions. So the question is, what to do? We'd like to invite you to look at diversity just the other way around. Don't try to maximize it for its own sake. Rather think about it backwards from your purpose and ask what kind of diversity you need to reach your goals. If you are selling fridges to consumers in Tokyo, you will never be successful if your development team is driven by an Ohio-shaped mindset. You need empathy for the consumers' lives in Tokyo. Many of you want to build resilient organizations and mitigate risks along your supply chains. That involves using personal links and building trust across a diverse supplier base. Do your suppliers have counterparts in your team who understand their language in all the meanings of that term? Many organizations are also concerned about talent attraction and retention. If you take that to heart, wouldn't it be a low-hanging fruit to have the diversity of your talent acquisition team reflect the diversity of the talent pools that you want to tap into? What it means is diversity is not a goal in itself. It is a necessity. It makes your organization resilient and prosperous. What you need to do is create an organizational culture of unity and belonging, where people from different walks of life can feel at home. That culture will then serve as a platform so that everyone can work together on a shared purpose that you will need to create and share with your teams. That brings me to another, almost obviously and yet underappreciated insight. In times of transformation, diversity in people's problem-solving styles is key to success. Because as human beings, for good reasons, we are not all created equal. On the contrary, we thrive on the diversity, how we are creative and look at problems. And yet, there's a tragedy around that topic because many people lack the understanding of creative diversity. Few people are creative in the way Thomas Edison was. You know, there are more than 1,000 patents to his credit. And he once said, "I didn't invent anything new. I simply carried on where other people left off." Edison diligently and systematically explored new ways that made him and his teams very successful at making better whatever they touched. Few people are also creative in a way Nikola Tesla was. When everyone thought direct current, he thought alternating current. He looked at things the other way around and wasn't interested so much in making existing things better. He wanted to create better things instead. The drama is that people like Edison and Tesla clash, and the two of them truly did. They clash if they don't understand the difference is in their creative styles and not in how creative they are. If these two gentlemen span the extremes, most of us are somewhere in the middle. And the background of all this is laid out in Dr. Michael Curtin's book, shown here on Adaptation and Innovation Theory. If you wonder what your creative style might be, here's a little help. Credit for this picture goes to my former colleagues at BMGI. If you are more like Edison, you will prefer working on few yet well-thought ideas. You will tend to exploit the properties of the system at hand, find clever ways to exploit existing rules, and you will typically care about involving everyone in the exercise, and you may feel uneasy if team members disagree. If, on the other hand, you're more like Tesla, you thrive on many ideas and you don't care so much if they turn out not to be practical. You would just create new ideas. You would also feel much less constricted by the rules and not care so much about the properties of the current system because you are thinking about a new system instead. you would probably also be much more at ease in situations where people disagree with you or with each other. If this makes you curious, and we hope it does, well, then you may enjoy checking out the two references given here below. If you want to bring to best use your team's diversity, creative diversity, there are 3 essential steps that you should take. First and foremost, you will need to understand your own creative style. How do you like to solve problems? More like Edison? Or more like Tesla? Or more like most people somewhere in between? Because that forms the basis for the next step. You can now read and appreciate other people's creative styles. It is in fact rather easy to perceive other people's creative styles relative to your own style. And once you've learned to read their styles, you can appreciate the difference, which does involve some coping, so you can work with people who have a style different from your own. This then allows you to set up a truly diverse problem-solving team where Edison and Tesla and all the others can happily work together. The outcomes such teams create is far superior to the ones created by more homogeneous teams. Coming to our last point. Please don't hire a Chief Diversity Officer just yet, because chances are you may already have these people in your organization. Very likely, in your warehouse, you have people from multiple nationalities. Between them, they speak many different languages, support 15 or more different football teams, and know how to respect someone's most important holiday almost every other week. These people, who may be leading your night shift, so you rarely see them, they are dealing with diversity every day. So why don't you learn from them, develop them? Make them the ambassadors of developing and promoting diversity in your organization. Well, let me wrap up. Supply chains are key drivers for diversity and innovation. They connect A to B, and this comes with important responsibilities and opportunities. If you lead a supply chain, you create trust and collaboration between your organization, your suppliers, and your customers. As a result, you can drive innovation. Collaborative innovation is one of the 4 innovation archetypes. There's no way around collaborative innovation when a challenge, say, to decarbonize your supply chain, is too big for one organization to tackle alone. Make yourself familiar with how to orchestrate collaborative innovation, and you may earn not only a seat at the board table, you may very well be in a position to lead many of their conversations. Second, in its own diversity is underappreciated. What that means is that you will need to think about diversity backwards from your purpose. Build the diversity you need and create an inclusive culture for everyone to work together on a shared purpose. Third, embrace problem-solving diversity. What that means is roll out a training program so that people understand their own style, can read and appreciate other people's styles, so that every day in your organization, your problem-solving teams can make best use of their creative diversity. And lastly, if you care about diversity, do you really need to hire a Chief Diversity Officer? Why not start by looking at your teams, at their diversity and how they deal with it? You can and you should formalize the competencies on a personal, interpersonal and problem-solving level to make diverse teams successful. Because in the end, diversity always wins. This is the picture of the winning team from the U17 Football World Championship in 2023. From their picture on the pitch that I've shared with you before, they made it to quarterfinal, to half-final, to the final and to winning the championship. Thank you.